Stuck so tight to the old blue and white road, our names up in letters of gold.
Hi everyone, welcome to our next history video. So as many of you guys would know, we've got 3 double life members, Cliff Donegan, Tommy Watson and Jimmy Howard. With me are 2 of Jimmy Howard's kids, Rose and Danny. Thank you both for coming. So we're just going to talk about your family. You've been around for a bit, but I know before you ever came to Berwick, your dad had a bit of a footy career. So I've got one thing here. So he played for Collingwood, I believe.
Yes, he did, yeah.
So I've got here some of his early little pamphlets and things. Information to players, little handbooks, all sorts of things there we have a look at.
There you go.
So was that all, I'm assuming, before you guys were born?
Yeah.
Playing for Collingwood?
Yeah. Yep.
Did he play for long there?
He was actually, the VFL AFL books say, I think it was 54 to 56, but he went down at the end of 1953 when Collingwood won the flag, and he finished up there in 1957 through injury. So yeah, he was down there, he loved it. It was probably 4 or 5, close to 5 years of some of the best years of his football life in his mind, and lifetime friends out of that playing group, you know, Bobby Rose and Frank Tucker.
Have you guys stayed mad Collingwood supporters?
Oh, half and half in the family. Used to be a bit of war in there, but we still think we're the upper hand, the Collingwood supporters.
Yeah.
Richmond was unfortunately brought in by Dad's wife, Rosemary's mother, and she influenced some of her sons as well.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah. So that was his probably the highlight of his playing career. Besides Moore, which is where he was before Collingwood. So.
Yeah, I did actually see somewhere we've got a little note from someone at Moore wishing him well for his time at Collingwood. And then I believe there was Dandenong in there as well before coming to Berwick.
Yep. I think every club he was at was his best football club ever. And he just loved football. Yes. So even just harping on the Moore thing a little bit, you know, he was just a seconds player, but he kicked, I think it was 20-something goals in one game down there, and he got recognised, and Carlton had him lined up to go down there, and Collingwood slipped in with the death knock in 1953, somehow or another. But he played in dual premierships down in Mall, and if there was a past players reunion to be had that he played in, he was there, and that was Mall. He had blood brothers down there, pretty heavy, and Collingwood. And then he played a season in the Eastern Churches League after he hurt his knees at Collingwood. Sort of half played, half coached there, and then he came out to Dandy and became a life member player coach out there in the mud and the blood of the 1960s.
So how did he end up at Berwick then?
Oh well, it was another footy club, wasn't it? Where else would you go? No, we moved.
In Berwick.
Mum and Dad moved to Berwick with those of us that were born in 1962, and lived in Sleepy Little Gardner Street, and Berwick Football Club were knocking on his door, I think, because of his history and all that sort of thing. So he came over. He was still well affiliated with Dandy, and Rosemary said that Frank Elliott was a past president of the Berwick Football Club. Maxine Curtis married the Brian Curtis' father.
Yep, Simon's dad.
So the grandfather of the Curtises down here. Frank Elliott, yes, he lived next door, and he coerced him, I think, and I think he started coaching the under 16s or 17s, early 1970s. His claim to fame is Berwick, that bloke, Michael Tuck. I think everyone that touched Tucky in Berwick claimed that they had something to do with him. Dad was one of them. And then he coached seniors and seniors, Berwick, and then interleague coach pretty quickly after that. Just loved it. There was nothing else on the calendar than football and winter and collecting rocks in summer.
So all it takes is a quick glance at our honour board and your dad's name comes up pretty quick. Lots of secretary years, president for a year, you know, captaining and coaching, things like that. So I'm assuming clearly you're around here a lot. What was it like for you kids being around here?
Pretty shit house. We lived in the shadow. No, he was good, but everything was football.
It's good, yeah.
Shut up was a common call in our house on Friday nights and Saturday nights when after the footy club was down there finishing off what they hadn't finished off at the footy club and trying to sing.
Yeah, that was us saying to them to shut up so we could sleep.
Because
Because they would all be singing up in the lounge room or kitchen.
not you guys making a racket, they're trying to focus on the footy.
No, the chocolate biscuits come out and the beer and everything. And
Yeah, what was it like for us?
It was good, no different. I mean, Sunday was when they all got old enough, they were all playing footy, and Saturday was up here watching Dad. Well, not here, it was actually Arch Brown. Yeah, it was good. I remember getting given $1, and that was to last all day, and it's it.
Yeah,
Go and buy
a bit different
your party
now.
pie, your can of drink, and you'd have a bag of lollies, whatever, and that was it. Run amok and collect the bottles and get 5 cents, whatever it was, back on a bottle. So you sended that money out, and yeah, it was. After the game, Mum would take her home and get Dad. One more. It was always one more.
So instead of being
Wait,
the
one more.
youngest kid.
Yeah. There's a brother younger than me.
Yeah.
So 3 older and 1 younger. Yeah. But yeah. So no, it was good. I mean, I knew no different, so it was good. I enjoyed it.
And so you talked about your mum a bit. So how was she involved up here?
She was on. I think they probably had a ladies' committee back then today. She always was working in the canteen and washing jumpers. Yeah, probably so she'd see Dad. That's how it was. I mean, Mum and Dad met and married between footy seasons. So met at the end of one and married before the next one. We used to always say, "You never did a footy season with him, did you?"
Didn't know what she was getting into.
No, yeah, but yeah, I liked it. I mean, Dad was my hero. I honoured him. So yeah.
You said you spent some time on the gate one year?
Yeah, so one year it was probably the Southwest Footy League, was it, back then? They used to run competitions, and I was doing the gate all year selling the records with Bill Williamson, or Billy Willie used to get called, and Arch Brown. I'd stand there with them, they'd tell me all these stories, and I'd sell the records, hope to win the prize, but I think there was only me and one other kid in the league, and we both won a Puma bag full of stuff, which was exciting back then. Remember that? That was at Arch Brown, but yeah. I used to be scared of them, but that year made me not scared of them. They were 2 nice old guys around the club. So.
Yeah, got to actually know them.
Yeah.
Sure, they would have had plenty of stories between them.
Yeah. They were crabby, but not crabby. We used to do that.
Arch Brown was alright.
Bill was.
He was renowned for his secret concoction for polishing footballs, and Dad used to pick him up every Saturday morning and go to the game, and we'd be sitting in the car with him, and he always had these highly polished game balls. Not like now, you got a new ball. It was an old ball, but he had some. Dad would never tell us, like the KFC recipe,
Yeah.
Dad didn't know it either, apparently, but it was like a honeycomb and wax and some other special Arch Brown concoction. So. And Arch was a stalwart of the club too.
Yeah.
He was family, the Minses and the Browns, and they're all entwined in the history of the club. Also up in the Arch Brown Reserve, which is up in the old ground. And Bill Williamson was renowned for walking stick, come back from World War II, between your legs. Any bloke that was around that time would remember that. Shocking.
Maybe not get away with it these days.
Probably not. Anyway, that was Bill Williamson too. So they're all just, so the club back then in the 70s was probably just straight out community. So when you ask them, how did it affect us? That was just the world.
Yeah.
We didn't know anyone outside besides school.
Yeah.
If they didn't play footy or netball, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
How can this be safe? You know,
Yeah.
what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Go to another school with you. Anyway, that's what Berwick became. And just talking about the young man again, not trying to take the stage, but whether it was his footy career or here, the only job I remember him saying, the only job I would never do was the treasurer's job.
Yeah.
I ain't touching money.
Lucky me, yeah. I've had other people say that to me, yeah.
But he and his mates were, not pumping him up, but whether he was playing or part of the club, he just had that ability to be part of the nucleus that made a success, and we're driven with great people around him, who supported him and he supported them. So he had all his mates through the footy club when he was not playing, you know, Barry Johnson and Heck McGill, whoever was on the committee was his best mate, and they're still around, you know, in his mind. Tommy Watson.
Yep, so this is the 100 years in football.
Yep.
So the centenary, your dad's centre stage that year. Convenient to pick the centenary year to be president.
I think he was president a couple of years, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's done a couple of jobs.
Yeah, many secretary years.
A lot of secretary, yeah, that's right.
Bobby Sutton there, so he was a great mate of Dad's.
Yeah.
Do anything.
John
Built these rooms actually.
Yeah.
And the change rooms are down named after your dad?
Yeah.
Well, the sign lived in our back garage for a while when I was
did
doing
it?
the renovations.
Yeah.
It was lovingly re-oiled and repainted for the new buildings.
Yeah.
Well, we like to think that anyone that was involved in the footy club back then probably had the same exposure as us, really. That was the only thing going around. Whether I still remember going down to Turton and you'd be the last kids on the block besides the opposition blokes that were trying to knock your head off when you're about, you know, 3.5 years old or whatever age we were back then. And Dad's just having one more, you know, before the treacherous drive back across the swamp. But actually I bumped into a bloke from Turton, Billy Morrison, who Dad coached in the league last year at a Garfield versus Turton game, and I saw him and I remembered him. He still looked the same to me, bald and solid. But he's a multi best and fairest premiership player and legend of Turton Footy Club, who are pretty successful now, and they're the past players thing. I hunted him out and I said, I just introduced myself. I said, I'm no one, but I'm Danny, you know, Jimmy Howe. And he hugged me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that was from, he said, we're all the same back then. We hated the opposition, but we always sent someone out to kill someone else. And your dad always sent someone out to kill me, but I still loved him. So, that was pretty special.
Obviously your dad, was here well before my time, but I hear from other people, most people who was around here certainly, remember your dad even going through the photographs I've seen to you before. I think your dad might just hit Cliff Donegan for winning the prize of being in the most amount of pictures, particularly the ones through sort of the early 80s, the pictures from the presentation night, he's sort of there, all of them. Even in some of the team photos, he's got sort of a mischievous grin on his face. What is he up to?
He liked a bit of fun.
Yeah, he did like a bit of fun. I mean, it is related to footy. Obviously, or not obviously, I got married and changed my surname. And I remember when our boys were looking at playing footy, Dad rang me. This is how passionate he was about the footy. Rang me and said, I'm going to pick the boys up next week. I said, oh yeah, cool. Why? And he said, because they're doing footy registration. I said, okay, well, we can take them. Because no, they need to come up with me so everyone knows who they are, because they don't have my surname. So he drove up here. I need everyone to make sure they know who they are. So he
must be treated like appropriate royalty.
So that they know who they are and they get in. So.
So did you have just one or a couple of your boys?
2 of our sons played. Yep. So they played through juniors and then up here. One kept playing up through seniors, one stuffed his knee. Must be like his grandfather. So no, Christian played up, Toby and Christian both played up here, but Christian played for a long time, So, heavily involved, and we're very proud of it and proud to, have their grandfather overseeing almost. So I get emotional now, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but I mean, there's only 3 of those guys that are double life members. He's got some pretty decent company between Tommy and Cliffy there. I think between the 3 of them, quite a lot of people, even outside Berwick, like I said, from other clubs, I've heard of people being like, oh yeah, no, I remember them, or even if sometimes like, I don't think he would have known who I was, but I knew who, he was, the sort of impression they made on people. Yeah.
Tommy and, you probably know this better than me, Danny, but Tommy and Dad used to eventually they were doing the timekeeping, and I know a lot of the players used to talk about them as I don't know if you know the Muppets, you're probably too young, the 2 old men up in the balcony, they'd say that Tommy and Dad were like that, they'd be up there doing the timekeeping.
Not heckling down the front.
They would have been heckling the opposition, guaranteed.
I think that's the placing of the Wiconians room was to ensure that there was appropriate heckling down on the opposition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think like
they were good mates.
with those mates and the trust that they had amongst all them, you know, you could call it a committee that ran the footy club, but most of the decisions were well and truly made way before it became a committee meeting, and by people like that, you know, knew what they were talking about, knew what they wanted, probably to the behest of many other democratic people. But the success is on the wall and, you know, out in the field, and that's what they knew, and that's how they drove it. And they were never disrespectful, I don't think. I remember the old man could never understand why some people didn't like him. And I remember that up to his funeral, where I thought, well, the reason people didn't like him was for the same reason that people loved him, because he was so driven and committed to whatever the cause was. And he didn't always see the other people's point of view. He did respect it, and then he did what he wanted to do. He had some funny sayings that carried on through the decades around here, probably still do now, and they were generally about opposition people or people that he didn't have a lot of time for. That would be some things like, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know, mate. You wouldn't have a clue. And he was quite strong on that one. And yeah, is that right? Is that right, mate? You know, that was normally a challenge. So, other funny ones that Tradie and the crew would know. What?
Oh, yeah, gosh, yeah.
Wouldn't know. Yeah, so anyway.
There's a couple of pictures from our boys' trips with your dad and Russell Trade.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly your dad could still hold his own with the young boys at that stage from the pictures.
I think those blokes were their own worst enemies.
Yeah, I think so.
Not that we're any better, Tradie.
Yeah.
But he learned from the best, that bloke.
Yeah.
But even the old man's funeral up here, like we had the wake up here, was that 15 years, 17 years ago,
yeah.
and there were like 900 to 1,000 people, and the wake was here, and we were up here as family, and people would come walking up, old, you know, warriors. You know, he'd and they'd introduce themselves, and you remember those names from back in the 70s and the 80s, where it was just war, you know, every weekend. Chelsea Heights guys, Dublin guys, Cranbourne, Hampton Park, all those old clubs and there were these blokes that just used to bash the crap out of each other on the weekends, and then they come up here and paying their respects to the old man, you know, like 20 years or something since they've seen him, maybe, or even 30 years, but they were pretty solid people in their own right. So yeah, that was. I don't think it was just him. It was the culture that he grew up with, and then it was the culture that they all operated with. So you know,
particularly so, some of these guys, like you look at the board, and there's a certain consistency for quite a few years there of the same kind of guys that stuck in there for a very long time, guiding the ship, and sometimes moving around jobs, but there must have been a pretty strong sense of friendship and community around those same guys.
Yeah,
they're around all that time.
Yeah, they backed themselves, that's for sure.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. That was.
Well, even the song, that's all they added to the end of the song.
But
we knew all the songs. That was our, people go for holidays and sing songs. That were the songs we'd sing. Footy songs is what we sang. Collingwood, and I think he got that from Collingwood, didn't he?
It's a breakdown of other things.
Yeah, but anyway, we knew that inside out, and when they added it on, and then hearing them sing it, anytime when Christian and Toby were playing, I was just like, it was quite emotional to hear them all sing it, and then now they do the jump. They do this big jump at the end as well, which is
you can see
to watch.
Like even the boys.
Yeah, pretty thirsty.
The boys' first, win this year was in front of the sort of 10-year anniversary Premier guys. So that was like a big nice thing.
Yeah.
And there was, sort of these two different generations of guys all singing that, that same song pretty passionately, and Hoddy was still pretty new at that stage, and sort of knew his way through the main core bit thanks to Carlton, and then sort of got to the end and suddenly was looking around at the boys. The boys just went in harder than ever, I think, for that last bit. Yeah. So he's had to catch up a bit on the lyrics of the last few lines.
Dad would love it. He would just be sitting up there. He would love it, wouldn't he? He'd just be like,
yeah, goats. goats in the garden. Hoo hoo. No, went long on that. You want me to sing it?
Oh, he's.
If you've
Go
got
on.
an endless
Danny,
audience.
Blue is the colour.
Knew it.
This is his way. Football is the game. This is Jimmy Howe's version.
Yep.
We're all together and winning is our aim. We'll fight on through the wind and rain for Berwick. Berwick is our name. We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Berwick knows. With all the champions they like to send us, we'll keep our ends up. And then I know that they've been playing against the famous Navy Blues. What do we sing? We stuck so tight to the old blue and white, wrote our names up in letters of gold. How are ya? Pretty thirsty? I say, can you put one down? My bloody oath I can. Goats in the garden. Hoo hoo.
That's how it was sung.
I reckon on that note, I think that's a good place to end it. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming down and talking about your dad and your family and, you know, quite a few generations there that made a pretty big impact on this place. So
Thanks,
you.
Ebony.
Thanks for what you guys are doing
Very
too.
good.
It's great. Yes. Yeah. Thanks for carrying it all on. It's really good.
Very welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you. We'll be back with another history video soon.
It's a good club.
Yes, it is a good club.